Welcome back to the Toffee Booze, your source for all things Everton. I'm Ollie Hayes, and today I'm bringing the Starting 11 show for Everton's trip to St Mary's to face Southampton on Saturday. So let's get straight into it. Everyone knows this show. It's my thoughts on what I think Sean Dyche will line up with to start against Southampton. So I'll start in goal. It's going to be Jordan Pickford. Think this is probably the easiest one to call. He made a few crucial saves against Fulham, in my opinion, kept us in the game when it really mattered. And there was a big one against Adama Traore, which he kept out, which I think kept us in the game massively. So he's just a calm head, Jordan Pickford, in my opinion. I think he calms the back four down a lot. So it's a no-brainer for me. I think Dyche will opt with Jordan Pickford in goal. So we'll move on to the defence. Mikalenko is my first defender. I think Mikalenko will start at left back. Defensively solid. We know that. We know what we get with Mikalenko. He is a defensively solid full back. But he's quite poor going forward. He doesn't really offer much in terms of an overlap. He never really gets the ball into his feet and puts a cross in. So, I don't think that, we can expect too much of him in terms of going forward. We just know what he is in terms of a good defensive option at fullback. So I think Dyche will opt for Mikalenko at left back. And then the two centre halves, I think this will probably cause a little bit of a stir, but I think Dyche will opt to keep James Tarkowski and Michael Keane as the partnership together. I personally think he'll be a little bit reluctant to put Jared Branthwaite back in. I've just got a feeling that, because Jared Branthwaite's coming back to full fitness, he hasn't reached that Dyche fit mentality yet, and he hasn't reached that full fitness. So I do think Dyche may keep him out for a little while longer, just while he fully beds back into the squad after quite an injury-ridden start to the season for Jared Branthwaite. So I do think Michael Keane and James Tarkowski will be the partnership just for a bit of continuity for Sean Dyche. And I think he would probably rather that than maybe chuck Jared Branthwaite in. It might be controversial, it might cause a little bit of a stir, but I do think that will be the partnership that Dyche will opt for against Southampton. Moving on to right back, Ashley Young, I think, will be the option for Sean Dyche. A decent assist, in my opinion, against Fulham. Obviously got us back in that game, got the equaliser late on. Obviously put the ball on a plate for Beto, who could hardly miss from about 5-6 yards out. So he's quietly been our best fullback this year, in my opinion, Ashley Young. He's been quietly going about his business. Obviously, he got a lot of stick towards the back end of last season. And last season in general, he did get quite a lot of stick just for being quite slow. He did show that he was a little bit off the pace, but he does seem to be quietly going about his business this season and quietly being our best fullback. And I think Dyche will opt to keep him in there and play him at right back this weekend. But moving on to midfield, I think the first midfielder Dyche will opt for is Idrissa Gana Gueye. He's our best fit midfielder at the moment, in my opinion. He does just break up the play so well. He is getting a little bit better on the ball, in my opinion, as well. Obviously, we've seen he does like a long shot from time to time. He was so unlucky not to get on the score sheet against Fulham with that one that rattled the bar, which Dominic Calvert-Lewin did put in, but he was offside. So, as I said before, I think Idrissa Gana Gueye is our best fit midfielder. He is a good player. He's like a Rolls Royce of a midfielder. He gets better with age, and he does seem to be getting a little bit more calm and collected on the ball, and that seems to rub off on others around him. So I think Dyche will opt for Idrissa Gana Gueye, and then alongside him, I think Orel Mangala will play. He played okay when he came on against Fulham. He seemed to bed into the game quite well. Obviously, it was quite late on, so there was a lot of tired bodies around him, so he might have shined a little bit more in that sense. But I thought he played okay when he came on. Obviously, he is quite a press-resistant midfielder. He's a lot better at running forward with the ball than say Abdoulaye Doucouré. So I think Orel Mangala will start for Sean Dyche's team on Saturday. And speaking of Abdoulaye Doucouré, I personally think that Sean Dyche will opt for Abdoulaye Doucouré as the number 10 this week. Obviously, Sky Sports News this morning were reporting that Dwight McNeil didn't train. And that was confirmed by Sean Dyche in his press conference. As I said before with Jared Branthwaite, Dwight McNeil won't be Dyche fit, so I don't think McNeil will be thrown into that one. So I do think Doucouré will feature in the 10, as much as we all want Iliman Ndiaye to feature in that 10 role, or even Jesper Lindstrom. Either one of those players just for a bit of creativity, a bit of spark from midfield. I do think Abdoulaye Doucouré will be the option that Sean Dyche uses, so I think he'll start in midfield as that number 10 on Saturday against Southampton. Then moving into the front three, I'll start off the left-hand side. I just mentioned him briefly then. It's Iliman Ndiaye. I think he will start off the left-hand side. He's just a wizard, isn't he? He's just such a good player. Every time he gets the ball, you're excited, aren't you? The way he puts his foot on that ball and rolls it, it's just so exciting to watch him play football. So I'm hoping he can make a difference and maybe get on the score sheet or provide an assist, because we are going to need creativity to beat a Southampton team. Obviously, we saw it when they came to Goodison Park. They held the majority of the possession. They're a team that like to play on the ball. They nearly played Manchester City off the park at some parts of that game last weekend when they went to the Etihad. So they're no mugs at keeping possession. So I think we are going to have to take our chances well on the counter attack. And Iliman Ndiaye is definitely a player that can do that. So I think he's going to be crucial for us on Saturday. So Dyche will opt to use him off the left hand side. And then on the right hand side, I would personally use Jesper Lindstrom, but I think Sean Dyche will opt for Jack Harrison. The reason I say I would opt for Jesper Lindstrom is because if you look at the Ipswich game, for example, where Leif Davis was going walkabouts on that left-hand side for Ipswich and there was big gaps in behind, Jack Harrison didn't, capitalise on them once. The amount of times that he was running into a free space on that right-hand side and he just didn't capitalise on them. It feels to me like Jesper Lindstrom would take that opportunity and maybe run more powerful with the ball and create more chances. But I do think Dyche will opt for the devil he knows and go with Jack Harrison on the right-hand side for the weekend against Southampton, purely for that defensive aspect. I think he likes having Jack Harrison on the right hand side because it offers him more cover in terms of defence. So I think Dyche will opt to use Jack Harrison there. And then up front, despite Beto's goal to equalise against Fulham, I think Dominic Calvert-Lewin will start for Sean Dyche on Saturday. Listen, we'll all have our opinions on this. It is probably one of the most split decisions in terms of who you think should start up front. I'd like to see Beto personally. I'd like to see him play up front. I think he deserves an opportunity after the goal he scored. A lot of people won't agree with me. A lot of people will say that Dominic Calvert-Lewin offers more to the team, which I think is true in some sense. Obviously, his link-up play, his use as a target man. I think, despite him not liking playing that position and not seeming to like getting stuck in, he is very good at it. He is very good at winning the ball in the air. So I think Dyche will use Dominic Calvert-Lewin on Saturday, and just fingers crossed he can get on the score sheet because he was unlucky, obviously, not to get on the score sheet against Fulham, being slightly offside. So I'm just hoping he can maybe put a little bit of a run together, like he did at the back end of last season. Put a little bit of a run together, get rid of this goal drought and just start banging goals in because, as I mentioned in the news report yesterday, he's starting to talk about that Romelu Lukaku record about being the Premier League top goal scorer. So I'm hoping he can start the run on Saturday and maybe get a goal against Southampton. But that is what I think Sean Dyche will opt for on Saturday against Southampton. I'll just run through it very quickly. So it's Jordan Pickford in goal, a back four of Vitaly Mykolenko, Michael Keane, James Tarkowski and Ashley Young. Two midfielders of Orel Mangala and Idrissa Gana Gueye, with Abdoulaye Doucouré playing in the number 10 role from midfield. A front three of Iliman Ndiaye off the left, Jack Harrison off the right, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin up front. Let me know your thoughts in the comments about this starting lineup. Are you happy? Do you think Dyche will go with something else? Make sure you let me know your thoughts, but also make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and I'll speak to you in a bit.